Ladies and gentlemen, in this video, I'm gonna give you every single tool you need to go from zero all the way to $10,000 a month and even beyond with your social media marketing agency. This is one of the most important videos that you're gonna watch on how to actually build an agency, so please treat it as such. Close all the other tabs you have open, grab a pen and paper. Have a big day if you're tired, because I promise you after you watch this video, the only thing between you and making hundreds of thousands of dollars will be applying what you know. Now, final thing to mention is I have some incredible free resources I've included in the description. So with no further ado, let's get started. Now, an agency really has three core stages, and there are tools that you're going to need for each one of them. Stage one is just starting your agency. Stage two is maintaining it, actually getting your first few clients signed. And then stage three is growth. And that's really where client retention and scaling comes in. Now, we're going to start from zero and work all our way up to full agency making over $10,000 a month. So stage one, starting. Now, the first thing you need to do is create a name for your agency. And there are a lot of very good AI tools that can come up with name ideas for free, such as Namelix, BrandCrowd, and Looka. So take your time here, don't rush it, be thoughtful. Your name is your identity. It's the first thing your clients will look at. And just another piece of naming advice, when I actually created a name for my agency, and funnily enough, I actually ran my agency for about a year with no agency name. It was just me. So I wasn't really an agency, I was a glorified contractor. But when I did finally create a name for it, it was IEG Media. It was my initials, Media. I would not recommend you use anything personal to you or your initials or anything like that, just simply because it ties things to you. And I know we're at the beginning stages here, but just looking forward, you might as well future-proof. Even when it comes to selling it, you're gonna have issues because the name is attached to you. So trust me, issues will occur if that's the case. And the other part of my name, which is Media, that was applicable when I first started off as a creative agency, and then I went into advertising, so Media wasn't really as applicable. So I would avoid having your service in the name. I would generally just keep it open-ended and have it sounding like something that could be a software company. But anyways, once you have a name, make sure it's available for registration. And just remember, you don't want to copy a name that already exists. That's just headache that you don't want to deal with. Now, once you have your name, the next step is to buy some internet land, which is your domain. And on your internet land, you're going to build your house or your website. And a domain really shows that you're not an amateur. It makes it easier for prospects to trust you. Now, you can get a subdomain for free with tools like Card or Unbounce, but to be honest, that's just not really ideal, and it still shows inside of the URL. And you also can't create an official email from it because you're not the official owner of the domain. So anyways, I say that to say that there are free options, but honestly, you can get domains for as cheap as 99 cents per year. And preferably spend a little extra, get the .com version, and you can get your .com, .io, .digital is another option. You can get all this stuff for like $5, $10, $15 a year. So if you have the means to do it, please do. And in terms of buying domains, you can use GoDaddy, you can use Namecheap, you can use Squarespace. Google Domains actually used to have a service, but they don't offer that anymore. So those are the three I recommend. Now, once you actually have a domain, then you can go to G Suite and create a business email for as little as $6 a month. And trust me, having a professional email goes a long way when you're trying to pitch your services to companies making millions of dollars. Now, I'm not gonna lie and say that you can't use free options like Gmail, Outlook, or Yahoo, but it's just gonna take you so much longer to close your clients because most people aren't gonna take you seriously. It's never a good look to email business owners from johnny193@gmail.com. So as I said, buy your domain, it'll probably be like $10, $15 a year, and then it's just $6 a month for a professional G Suite. Then we move on to website. Think of your website as your online storefront. It should show your services, your portfolio, and your expertise. And your offer should have a clear-cut offer, social proof, and a place to book a call. Now, you could hire a web designer to create a website from scratch, but to be honest, you really don't have to. For most people, it's just unnecessary. Instead, it's way easier to use tools that have website builders and templates inside of it. The best tool for this, shameless plug, but I'll be honest, the best tool for this is my software company, Flowzy. With a starting plan at $49 a month only, you can manage all of your agency clients, all your operations, and you have your full website built out for you. So rather than spending $3,000 with a website designer, we have dozens of website templates that you can just literally click. It goes straight into your Flowzy. You can put your professional domain on there and literally do all of your website hosting, your onboarding, managing your CRM, all of this stuff for literally just $49 a month, rather than spending thousands of dollars with a web designer. Now, luckily, as the owner of Flowzy, I can do some cool stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave a 30-day free trial. Normally we give a 14-day free trial only. I'm gonna leave you a link below for a 30-day free trial. Now in 30 days, you can literally use all of the templates, set up your website with Flowzy, and it's literally free for an entire month. So I'll go ahead and leave that link below. It's the easiest way to set up a website. Moving on to the next step, now you have to figure out your niche if you haven't already. A niche is nothing but a segment of the marketplace that you're intending on selling to. Influencers, chefs, dentists, coaches, e-com stores, so on. My best advice when trying to find a niche when you're first starting out is don't try to reinvent the wheel. Go on websites like ClickBank and have a look at all the different niches and products that are moving hundreds of millions of dollars. It's going to give you a good idea of what niches are the most profitable and what are common things that people within that niche really struggle with. Inside of a tool like ClickBank, you can see what is working in the market right now, and you can see what are people interested in, what are people buying, what are offers that affiliates are having success with, which means that the market wants it, which is why they can sell it. And then you can come up with a service-based solution for it. Now, once you have a niche, go deeper and define what type of customer in that niche you're selling to. And that is called niching down. A very common mistake that beginners make is they think the bigger the pool of potential clients that they'll serve, that the more money they're going to make, when in fact, it's the opposite. The riches are in the niches. Now, I don't say niche, I say niche, but I know that's an American thing. So listen, if you have a marketing agency that just helps the fitness space in general, that's very open-ended. What could that mean? Whereas if you have a marketing agency that specifically helps reformer Pilates gyms, well, then that is a strong niche that's doing very well and something that's more niche down. Now, the more niche down you get, the easier it is to get clients. Get specific. Know exactly who's going to be your customer. If you sell to everybody, no one's going to think that your service is tailored for them. You want to look like an expert, not a jack of all trades. Now, once you have a niche and your ideal customer, ask yourself, what do they struggle with and how can I solve that problem? How can I create so much value in their life that they would pay me thousands of dollars a month? And trust me, I'm about to recommend something. I'm not being ironic here. ChatGPT is honestly a pretty good tool for brainstorming when you're coming up with these ideas. Give it a go, you might strike gold. Now, some examples of a service for a specific niche: video editing for personal brands, appointment setting for online coaches, email copywriting for dropshipping stores, SEO for local businesses, and media buying for online clothing brands. Now let's pause here for a second before we move on to stage 2 and 3, because I want to share something with you. People have this false belief that they can just maintain their agency. That's not possible. Your agency is either growing or it's dying. And let me give you an example. Let's say you're incredible at keeping your clients, but you don't focus on getting more clients. Some would say that you're maintaining your agency, right? But in real life, sometimes clients leave just because. Even if you're the best at what you do, if you're delivering an incredible service, sometimes clients just decide to bring it in-house, or sometimes clients get investors and the investors want them to bring it in-house. Sometimes your clients decide that they want to shrink their business. They want to actually slow the business down and they don't need as many customers. So if you don't have clients in the pipeline, it is simply a matter of time until you go from $10,000 a month to $0 a month. It's not going to happen overnight. It will take many, many months, but just so you're aware. And that's why the actions that you take in stage 2 and stage 3 overlap. Now let's move on to, in my opinion, the best part, which is stage 3 and stage 4, which is maintaining and growing. Now, your offer is how you lay down deliverables, results, and price. And it should be very simple and straight to the point. It's in essence, and this is a very simplified version, I can take you from A to B with X, and X is the method, in X amount of time for X price. And if you can't fit your offer in that formula, then you're doing it wrong. Remember that adding too many things to your offer actually makes it worse, not better. Keep it simple and valuable, and make sure the client knows that they are buying money at a discount. They are paying you less than what they're going to make by hiring your agency. If you can do that, you have a no-brainer offer. And that's what you want. If you want to know what a good offer looks like, just search for competitors in Google and see what they're offering. Then use that as inspiration. And don't be afraid to consult ChatGPT for this one too. You'd be surprised. Then we move on to prospecting and lead generation. As an agency owner, you need a steady flow of leads coming into your pipeline. Even if you're not ready to onboard them yet, you should always be prospecting. You need to have clients in line waiting to hire you. And I'll admit, client acquisition is usually the thing people struggle with the most, but you don't have to. For example, if you want to get clients from email, you can use tools like Apollo, D7 Lead Finder, and Lead Gorilla. They're not my favorite tools, but they're tools. And then you filter out the bad leads from your list with things like a Million Verifier or Scrubby. And then you use a CRM of choice or an email automation tool, for example, like Lemlist, to actually get in touch with these business owners. Speaking of Lemlist, the owner of Lemlist, which is literally the most widely used tool for service-based businesses to actually do their outreach, the founder and owner of it, Guillaume, He teaches inside of my program, Agency Accelerator. He has 17 modules inside of there, literally teaching what he's learned from having over $1 billion worth of revenue brought in through Lemlist campaigns. He is the #1 expert in the world when it comes to outbound cold email. And he teaches inside of Agency Accelerator. So just a heads up, if you want to get access to Agency Accelerator, we just recently reopened enrollments for it. You can find the link in the description for that. Another way to get clients is through content. The leads are warmer, people trust you, and you don't have to sell as much. It's just easier. And creating content is not as time consuming as it seems. You can use tools like Buffer, Hootsuite, or Content Studio to schedule all of your posts and have them go out for you while you focus on the other parts of your SMMA. Another unspoken benefit of having a solid pipeline is that it keeps you level-headed and not anxious about losing clients. And as a business owner, you need that. It's very hard to make good business decisions when you're on edge or you're stressed. So make sure you can onboard new clients at any time. And of course, that's amazing for your pockets, but it's even better for your mental health. Take it from me. Now, when it comes to outreach, there are two main ways: mass outreach and personalized outreach. As a beginner, you should go with personalized. Be more picky with your prospects and get in touch with them by sending a thoughtful email or DM. They really have to know that you actually took some time to research them and you cared enough to learn about them. Because if you do this right, even if they don't want to work with you, at least they're going to reply. And that's already a win. Now, a good idea for a personalized outreach is recording a Loom and sending it over, introducing yourself, and pitching your services at the end. It's more intimate and it's easier for prospects to see that you're serious and you know what you're talking about. And then, of course, if you want to do higher volumes of DMs, then you can set automations with tools like ManyChat. However, I don't recommend doing this as a beginner because it's an easy way to get banned or restricted on most platforms if you don't do it the right way. So for me, I prefer a tool like Lemlist, and they actually have a feature in there called Lemwarm, so that way your email is actually being warmed up in of itself. At the end of the day, my best advice here is if you're starting out, just focus on one method. The goal is to be elite at one outreach channel, not average at 10 different ones. And any seasoned business owner is going to tell you the same thing. Pick the one that you have an affinity to and work on it. And don't give up because you didn't get results in the first week. Remember what I said, they all work. And if you're not booking calls, you need to be brutally honest with yourself and admit that you're just not good at it yet. So keep learning. Mimic what other people are doing. If it works for them, it can work for you, as long as you don't copy and try to do a copy-paste system. You have to add your own intuition and flair to it. Next, we move on to onboarding. Now, I'm not trying to scare you here, but this is where a lot of people lose clients. I mean, think about it. If a client paid you thousands of dollars, they expect a smooth onboarding process and expects you to care. Rightfully so, which is why you have to have all of your ducks in a row. Separate your onboarding process into steps. Now, once again, inside of Flowzy, we actually have an onboarding funnel builder. So that way you can literally just send your agency Flowzy link in the space of the onboarding. They pay the invoice, they sign the contract, they're onboarded into your Flowzy client workspace, and it literally just does everything for you. And once again, you can find a 30-day free trial linked below. Now, if you don't want to use that, you can send it in different steps, but my recommendation to you is find a way to use automations or different triggers so that way you're not facing the issue that you're constantly chatting back and forth with them. And that's actually why I built out my onboarding flow all the way back in 2018 for my agency. I noticed I was signing clients and then it was a few days of back and forth email. I need this password, I need access to this, blah, blah, all this crap. And it just started things off in a worse note. So what I did back in 2018 is I built a system with smart automations and different integrations that when a client did one step, it took them to the next, blah, blah, all this stuff. And then as I said, obviously years later, when I built my software company Flowzy, that's just a tool that we've added in there in the new 3.0 version. So however you want to do it, I don't care. But the point is, if they have just paid you, just remember, this is the most sensitive point. This is the point in which they can get buyer's remorse. This is the point in which they go, oh no, I just signed a 6-month contract with this agency that I'm paying $2,000 a month. And to be honest, their onboarding process, their onboarding system, it just doesn't seem like they're on it. It doesn't seem like they're on the ball. They want to get this thing going, get this thing moving, get me making money. So outside of that, communication is also very important. Now, if you have an automated onboarding flow, communication is a lot easier, but you want to communicate with your client how long it is until their stuff launches, how long it will take for you to actually get the ball rolling with them. And basically just remember that those first 30 days are super, super important. Now, moving on to service delivery, this is actually potentially the most simple. And it can be the most simple if you use the method that I used when I was really scaling my agency, which was outsourcing that part to a contractor, or what I like to call contractor arbitrage. Now, some good places to find talent are Fiverr, Upwork, and LinkedIn. Just remember, never hire someone as a full-time employee before they prove themselves. Always make sure you give them a trial month, because having bad team members will cost you clients. So what I personally did with my first contractor that actually ended up then becoming the CMO of my agency, is he was charging me $600 per month per client. And then I was basically charging clients $2,000 a month, $3,000 a month. I mean, to be honest, the margins were insane, even like $5,000 a month. And then eventually I ended up bringing him on full time. He kept growing his income over the years and then eventually became the CMO of the agency. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is retention, because it is so much easier to keep a client than it is to get a new one. You don't want to be the agency that signs 10 clients per month and loses 10 clients per month. I will be honest, that pretty much never happens. And you also have minimum terms with clients. So as I said, that basically never happens, but you get the point. Now, I don't want you to be scared here because retention is actually pretty straightforward. I'll be honest, the most important tenets of it is deliver clients good results, reply quickly, and do daily or weekly check-ins. And that is pretty much 85% of it. Now, you can do things on top like sending your clients personalized gifts, and I've talked about that in previous videos, and it's stuff that we used at the agency for many years and was very helpful. And to be honest, sometimes, as you guys know, as an agency owner, sometimes things don't work out with clients, and that little personalization and how special we made those first 30 days, that probably even bought us a few more months where the client was more patient as we were getting things up and running and really working. As you know, some clients is just an instant success, and some clients, it takes a little longer for the plane to get off the ground. Now, I always recommend you should do weekly check-in calls with your client. Even if your client feels like that's over communicating, it's just good for them to see the work that you're doing. But outside of that, at the end of the week, to really close off the loop with your clients, I would always send, well, initially it was me, later on it was my CMO. We would send anywhere from like a 5 to 15 minute Loom video. And then what you do with that video is then you just send it in the communication platform, whether you guys are using WhatsApp, which I don't recommend, Flowzy, which obviously I highly recommend because you're going to be doing all your other agency stuff on there. Or if you want to spend more money and have extra expenses, you can also use Slack as well. So now you have a pretty good idea of the tools you need to go from zero to at least $10,000 per month. But I'm not done yet. I want to leave you with a free cheat sheet so that way you can use it to test different tools and see which fits best for you and your agency. So go ahead, click the link in the description and you're going to see it inside of there. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed today's video. And as always, I'm watching from afar and I'm rooting for you.